everyone to Control Alt Belong. Today's guest has turned science into impact across continents. Dr. Noeen Malik is a radiochemist and global leader at Stanford University, where she develops life saving radiopharmaceuticals for cancer and neuroscience. She's also an author, an entrepreneur, an NGO founder, and now returning to Tech2Step's board as Director for International Affairs. Noeen, we're thrilled to have you with us. Thank you for taking your time out and joining in for this conversation.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. And I think I joined Tech2Step board because I found that they are doing very interesting stuff. And the most important thing is that it's not like everything is not money oriented. So they volunteer their time and they go for those walks, which are very important for networking and for people who are doing job hunting in Canada or trying to bridge some professional connections. So it is very important step and they are doing it with full diligence. That's what I can see actually in all pictures and all videos and all posts. So I'm very happy to support it, honestly, yes.
Thank you, Noeen. Like that means the world to us. And we will get into Tech to Step and your journey more in detail. But to start off with, this is just out of plain curiosity. I feel you had such a wide-ranging journey from Germany to Canada to Stanford, from scientist to an activist. I am curious to know that if your journey could have a movie title, what would it be and why?
Okay, that's very interesting question. Yes, actually, my journey is very diverse. There is no doubt about it. I did a lot of those things which I never thought I would do, basically. But yes, if I would think about the tide also, because I think I was crossing the borders and I was going from one continent to another continent. And also because originally I'm Asian, right? I'm South Asian, right? So from one culture, Asian culture to European culture and then North American culture, and I would say work culture. But of course, the food wise and everything. I would give it a title like maybe uh, Breaking Borders and Building Bridges, right? How about if I that? Would like to give a scientific title, then it could be like, because in science also, and a lot of things happen, right? You have to encounter lots of challenges at work when you are moving ahead. So I would maybe how about that? Uh, from Petri dish to power moves. That's the scientific title.
Yeah,
And breaking borders and building bridges is more like a broader sense. And yes, I will give these titles. And why I would give these titles, because I think for my first title, breaking borders and building bridges, we really need it as a whole world. We need it. We need to embrace this type of mindset, I would say. Because I think when and isn't it beautiful when you come across to meet different people from different communities in person rather than hearing on news and all those things, right? You're
I
encountering
agree.
them in person, right?
Yeah,
And then you come to know, you sit with them, you eat with them, and you get to know them who they really are, basically, who in the true sense they are, right? So yes, I would like to give this because it's very, I would say somewhere this mindset is going in the corner, basically. And it is very important to embrace each other
yeah,
without any biases. Sometimes we do have unconscious biases, right? But
yeah.
it's good to embrace it in a general, like on an equal level, I would say. So this I would give this way. And the other title, the scientific one, from Petri dish and what was that? To power moves, right?
Yeah.
That one. That I will give because when you are you're a student, undergrad or even a high school, you're like a small that
I,
microbe or small that worm which is sitting in the petri dish and like, oh, what can happen or how that it can expand and grow and come out and show
yeah,
some power moves like that. So I think that goes in your journey when you evolve more, when you grow more, and and you evolve more when you encounter certain challenges and you learn how to tackle them. And do you learn something out of it? The challenge can be at workplace, the challenge can be in science when you are driving some data, right?
yeah.
The challenge can be there too. So Yeah, I think it teaches you a lot. Honestly, in my whole journey, I can see if I see that day when I was a student, I would say, oh, I was highly stupid. I would say highly stupid person because and every 5 years I learned that oh, I did these things. Oh, it should have not been like this. Now I know how to tackle these things in future, even in science or in workplace. Yeah. So these would be my idols, I think, and I think I gave reasons why.
I think I'm loving both. And to be honest, like it kind of leads us really well into the next question of like breaking barriers and making the power moves. But I recently came across a UNESCO study which also showed that there are less than 30% women in the world who make up world's researchers. And as an immigrant woman in Canada, you face like even steeper barriers. My question to you would be looking back, what support or pathways made the biggest difference for you in building your career?
I will be very honest with you. So, every place, every country has their own work culture. In Europe, it is very different than North American, basically. In Europe, networking is important too, but based on, regardless of that, there are many other factors also that shape in, for your career building. But in North America, in my honest opinion, and when I was with Quest also, when I met certain people who were looking for jobs in Canadian market, they found it very difficult. I actually met one girl. She was from Harvard graduate, and she couldn't
Mm.
find job in Canada. And so when I met those people, I figured out that the most important thing is networking. So in North America, job market in Canada, networking is very important, which means you need to have build connections. You need to build connections, and that connections also work in a way that uh, I think they in North America they work mostly based on the trust built on the connections, you will have a higher chance of getting jobs or getting promoted. Of course, you need to have skills and experience too. I'm not saying that, but in addition to that, the most important element is networking. You need to, so I would say how you do that, use LinkedIn, use LinkedIn as a platform, and there you start connecting with the people who are from your field, whom you think can be good for discussion for your career guidance, and start building connections there, and then see. It's very true, but in my case also, the way I moved to Canada, I think it was much more than the that building connection rather than anything else. I always tell this story. So, when I applied first time to Canada, I got a response that there is no job available. But then I found someone in the institute with who was actually emeritus, but I thought maybe that person I could send that person also resume. Maybe it would work. I sent that resume and that person saw my professor's name from Germany, who was my PhD supervisor. And he said, oh, I worked with this man and I know this man for 40 years. So I know whatever you wrote in your resume, I can blindly trust that. So I am seeking one person, that same person who told me there is no job available. So CC it in that email, and I would say that we hope we can find something for you. And I will be very honest with you. Within 1 week, I got a response that there is something available.
Mm.
So I think it was because of that trust, maybe because I didn't have connection, but that person, emeritus professor, he knows my professor from
Yeah.
Germany. Maybe they were colleagues at that time, and he knew how much scientific work he has done in my field, and he knew that the skills that I'm saying and I'm referring him, then definitely it has some connection to that really I have those skills, right? Because it happens here a lot. When I was interviewing certain people for our jobs in different institutes, I figured out that many times people just plugged in the uh, skills in their resume, but when I'm interviewing them, they don't have it because they don't answer the question. So that actually hurts my trust,
Yeah.
to trust someone whom I don't know or who is not coming through a reference whom I don't know. right? So I count it as a valid reason. I think this is very important. They should use definitely uh, LinkedIn. They should use build the connections and the point from where they start. I can tell you for work that I started, right? It all started in pandemic, and I was doing this like internship in Triumph at that time. But no one knew that no one can do this. So what I happened when during pandemic, I made a post on LinkedIn, and I said, okay, I because I had so much free time, so I made a post. Anyone who is looking for these type of the things, scientific illustrations or the business reports or data or strategic things please connect with me. I will do it for free for them.
Okay.
Companies did, right? One company was the vaccine company. It's EM Vaccine. They approached me for the scientific illustrations. And my first assignment was free. But the second assignment, they wanted to pay me. They came back and they wanted to pay me that, right? And for the business, I think I got from it's one of the biggest conference in my field. It is called ESRS, and it was first time happening on the virtual platform, and they needed a strategy for the business. How can we get all the sponsors, industrial sponsors? So I helped them creating their platform. So that way I got the testimonial, and that way more people approached me, and then I started sign studio and all those things, right? So also, you can do sometimes it should not be always about money. Sometimes you can just plug in and say, oh, I can do it. I have time. I can help you out. And then the person would know, oh, you have that skill, right? So,
That's
yeah.
true. I really like resonate with the fact that networking is very important, especially when you move into the North American region. Uh, it wasn't very heard of when I started my career back in India. Like
Yeah.
networking wasn't much of a thing. And I do realize like it really resonates deeply with me, like knowing the right person, networking with the right kind of groups, and building that mentorship is really crucial in supporting your journey in Canada, especially. And thank you for sharing that with us, Noeen. Which leads me back to my next question. You wear multiple hats. It's not just a scientist. You are a scientist. You're a communication expert. You've done science illustration as well, and you are also founder of an NGO called Endorse Hope, or one of the programs that the NGO does. I think my question to you would be like, how have you balanced creativity and your technical knowledge, and you were able to create something so beautiful, which has again helped you in your journey? And what is something that anyone watching this video could probably take back and experiment and do as well?
Yeah, I think, it happened during pandemic. Honestly, most of the things happened. Since I did my PhD, I was so busy in lab for, you're mostly busy 8 to 12 hours, and in PhD in postdocs, your hours are also not fixed. They're very fluctuating basically. Sometimes you're working at night, sometimes you're working during the day. So you don't get time to think about your life. Pandemic was the time that hit me, and it also forced me or pushed me to think out of the box.
Yeah.
That's very important. I think that push is very important in our life when you get that push and you start thinking out of the box. When you do that, then you know which potential you have, what you can do, right? So when I had so much time, so for the first thing I joined was Quist. That was the because Christine, I think I wanted to do some international event. I organized one woman in STEM workshop in Triumph, and after that, I got connected with Christine and other people, and then I wanted to organize an international woman event, basically. Uh,
Mm.
I think it was around Women Day, something like that. I think it was March or
International.
April. I don't
Yeah.
remember
I think
honestly.
International
Yeah,
Women's Day.
yeah, so I wanted to organize that, and then I came to know all these people. And then Christian said, "Why don't you join Squist?" I said, "Okay, I will join Squist." So I joined as a volunteer. But I think I have this thing in me that whenever I take a task or anything, even if it is for free, I put my 100% into it. I want it to look perfect, to look it beautiful. So I put a lot of efforts, and I think those were the efforts that were seen probably by Squist, and then I was elected on the board, and then I started that Squist Science Symposium, right? So,
Yeah.
but during that time. So how these things happen during that time in Squiz, I was meeting different people, different women from different countries who were immigrant and looking for jobs. And that led me to the next step to start a platform as Sign Studio because that Sign Studio was nothing for me basically. I wanted to have uh, to give them a platform where they can use it as a consultant, independent consultant. They don't have to pay, but through my platform, they can get some assignments from different companies and they can gain some Canadian experience as
Yeah.
a consultant, and then that can be leveraged for their next job, right? It can help them to get the next job. So from Sign Studio, when I was doing that, it took me to the next step because I wanted to make a website. And when I asked the web developer, they said, "Oh, it is this much or this much." I said, "Okay, I will learn how to make website myself." So I learned website myself and I made it, right? Then, through the same platform, when I was working in Squiz, we were organizing an event for children. It was, I think, quiz show or something like that. I forgot the name. And in that show, whenever we are asking some question and they cannot answer, then I made some beautiful cartoon because I'm also a cartoonist. So I made
Yeah.
some cartoon slides to show them what is this. And I figured out that rest of the time they were not so interested, but as soon as I put that slide on, they were so interested, they were so engaged. What is this happening? And that led me to the next step. I thought, okay, I have time. I can draw some science myths, children playing deck. So I drew that deck. I took that time. I drew it on Microsoft Paint digitally using my
Yeah.
stylus. Yeah, I drew it on the Microsoft Paint on my Surface Pro. You know, the Microsoft Surface Pro, which is like a tab or which
Yes.
can convert into a tab. So I drew it on that, but and I put the like writing, or if I have to write something, and the frames that I put it on the Microsoft PowerPoint. And then that's how I made those cards. But that led me to that thing. But also during that period when I was doing this NGO work, I also got connected with another NGO which is called Giant, which is basically Global Immunization Action Networking Team that started together with WHO from United Nations in order to bring awareness in the countries about the vaccinations and their importance. And when I was on the board of directors there too. I was a director of public affairs. So my job was to create the strategies to so that that can be adopted according to the cultural and religious environment of that country, basically. But during that my tenure, I met certain people from Africa, which led me to other things because I met some people from Ghana, from Uganda, from Nigeria, from Kenya, from Afghanistan also, which is not part of Africa. So every country has different requirement and they had different needs. For example, Ghana wanted someone to teach the students of the school and the teachers about the Microsoft Office. And Uganda wanted the support for menstrual hygiene and the clean
Yeah.
water. And Nigeria and Kenya, they wanted more about the students also, like the students grooming and like these things. So I started doing that volunteer thing without any NGO. I didn't have NGO at that time. So I said, okay, I will teach you the Microsoft Office. So I used to wake up very early morning to teach Ghana. And I can tell you how the situation is there. You know, we have so many computers and we learn the office even in our Asian countries. In Ghana, for that school, they have only one computer.
Mhm.
And teachers teach Microsoft Office on the board, on the blackboard. I never saw that in my
Yeah.
life before. And there is only one computer and very old style computer. It is sitting and the whole class is looking at that computer. And I am at that computer. And I always kept 2 hours for that, even though it was supposed to be 1 hour, because there was so much buffer time, the network problems. So for 30, 40 minutes, we'll take, can you hear me? Can you see me? Like that. But we finished one cohort for the beginners level. And we also started some campaigns in Uganda for menstrual hygienes. And Afghanistan, they needed more about the woman grooming. In the Kabul, I met a girl. She's an engineer there. So I strategized I gave her some strategies and some like protocols or some sort of the programs that she can start on her own there.
Yeah.
But but when I was doing these work, then I realized, oh, it needs to be registered under NGO so I can get funding for them. Otherwise I cannot get funding for them as a volunteer if I can continue doing that. So then I made Endorse Hope. So technically it was one step leading to another step. So I created Endorse Hope. I started a children program, which is the Kids Lab, where I trained. I We actually did only two shows. In one show, we did it for the dinosaur, where I trained the children to host the show also. So we
Yeah.
called someone from the National History Museums of US. I think he is the head of the National History Museum in Utah, I think. I forgot it, yeah. So he brought the dinosaur bones in the show and he showed it. And the other show we did was the ice cream, like where children can make the ice cream at home and they can also learn about the science. So they were making ice cream also and they were learning about the science also. So we only did two shows, but this is how it went step by step. So
Yeah.
everything goes step by step. When you feel a need, then you go and create it, right? But the most important thing is you need a push in your life to think out of the box. We all can do a lot of other things that we don't know that we are capable of doing. We need that push. We need to be pushed out of our comfort zone. We are sitting in our own cocoons and we don't
Yeah.
want to explore the unknown, right?
That's
But it
true.
is very important. Yeah.
I like the fun with science experiments that you did with the kids, especially with the dinosaur bones and the ice cream, but also a lot of impactful work again across regions that you have been supporting. And what you said is so true because it's so difficult to break out of that comfort zone to even like try something new. But I think like for anything to be successful or for anyone to be able to create an impact, I think that push is really important. Like you do need to step out of that comfort zone. You do need to take that first step, as scary as it might be, but it's true. Like, and your journey honestly has been so inspiring. Like, it's not restricted to a single domain. You've worked across sectors, across different profiles. And I feel like that this is one thing that's like really staying with me for at least from today's conversation is like you do what needs to be done, you show up where you can, and you be your true, authentic self. Like, I think that's the journey of growth. That's a journey of creating an impact. Noeen, lastly, since we are a little short on time, just one practical advice again. If there might be job seekers who are watching it, there might be early students, like students in their early careers. Any one practical tip that they could start implementing in their lives from today.
I think the most important thing that I felt I was lacking at that time, and if I could have, probably it could be much better and a journey for me, is that number one, they should have keep their mentors in their life. That's very important. If they have their PhD supervisor, or if they are encountering some postdoc supervisor, keep them as a mentor in your life because those are the one who can give you practical advice about your career development. It's very important. Number two, don't hesitate to talk to people if you need help. This it's very important, especially for women. You know,
Yeah.
whether they are women as a woman postdoc or they are women as a PhD students. I had a feeling when they work under male supervisor, they are a little bit hesitant to talk about their issues. It should not be like that. They are your supervisor. They are there to help you. They are willing to help you, but they should know your problems and issues first, right? So
Yeah.
it's very important for especially for women students that they should not hesitate to approach for help to their supervisor or even to other people around them. If they, for example, even if they have some small scientific question, just go and ask. What will happen? They will either say, no, we cannot help you. We are limited time, of course, because maybe they are busy, or they may help
Yeah.
you out, right? But approach them in a very nice, professional manner. Number third, make connections. It's very, very important. Make connections and keep those connections. I mean, you may make 100 connections, but then filter out and see maybe out of 100, only 10 are more important, more genuine, more valuable. Those will be those
Yeah.
people who will stand with you, who will help you out, who will help shaping your career, right? And number four, lastly, uh, don't fear the unknown. Like if sometimes I have seen students, if they are doing the organic chemistry, they would like to still continue doing the organic chemistry. They don't want to explore other things, right?
Yeah.
Try to see whatever overlaps your field. Like for example, I am basically a radio chemist, right? But when I was moving to New York, my professor asked me, and she said, I don't need a radio chemist. I need someone to run the scanners. I said, okay, I'm willing to learn. I didn't do any radio chemistry there. I was only working with scanner. That overlapped my field. In Triumph, I was a commercialization intern. That overlapped my field as a business thing, right? Science
Yeah.
illustration, it overlaps my field. So whatever overlaps, explore those areas and
Okay.
have your resume like multifaceted, like the multi-skilled. It's just like when someone is hiring you and there are two candidates, you and another person, you have so many skills that you can offer within the same job role and the salary. Then the other person who can only offer the skills which are associated with that job
Yeah.
responsibility. Of course, the person will move here, right? It's like
True.
that. Yeah.
I think that's amazing advice. Is like we've got 5 practical tips, and to be honest, like these are very insightful and valuable to us, especially when we are just starting off and building our careers. I feel
Yeah.
like Tech2Step again has been a great platform for me personally as well to build those connections, to get mentors. And there are a lot of other organizations out there as well who are willing to support you, but you need to
Mm.
take that first step. You need to ask.
Yeah.
So that brings us to an end of this conversation, Dr. Noeen, today. And thank you so much for sharing your journey with us and your valuable insights. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks a lot. Thanks for this invitation, and I really enjoyed it. Thank you.